this video, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons your loved one may not have crossed over and what you can do to help them. Hi everyone, this is Diana Palm, the Love Witch. Many of you have been wondering how to know if your own loved ones have crossed over after they pass. So this video is going to help you discern whether or not your loved one actually needs help in the afterlife. And if you're perceiving that they may need some extra help, what you can do to help your loved one. There are 5 main reasons why loved ones don't cross over after they pass. The first reason is if they die under the influence of drugs or alcohol. If your loved one happened to die when they were drunk or high, they can actually still take on that energy and state of confusion in the afterlife. So it's important to know that if there was a drug-induced death, that your loved one may still be a little bit confused and may need some assistance crossing over. If that's the case, don't worry, because I'm going to share some information that will help you to help your loved one cross over. The second reason is when a deceased loved one still feels very committed to a duty or service that they provided on earth. Sometimes this could be when somebody dies and they have young children. If they really don't want to leave their children and they're very, very dedicated to their duty as a parent. Now, of course, once they do cross over, they're actually more beneficial. They can come back after they've been to heaven and assist as a spirit with all of their spiritual gifts, which actually makes them a much better and more beneficial guardian from the spirit world. But sometimes people don't recognize this when they die, and they stay earthbound in order to help their loved ones, especially young children, and not realizing that they're very limited in how they can help if they don't cross over. This is where you may also see military veterans waiting for their comrades to pass, or carrying on a very deep oath to a certain cause and not wanting to move into the light until that cause has come to fruition or is completed. You may also find this even when somebody has dedicated themselves to a certain duty or task that they really were invested in. I've seen several ghosts haunt projection rooms in theaters where they were very, very devoted, and they were the person in charge of running the show and keeping things on task for the public. Even in this case, somebody may feel very, very important in the role that they play and not be willing to release it when they pass. The third reason is suicide. It is possible for some people that commit suicide to move into the light, depending on how they transition and transform right at the time of death and in the short space afterwards, where they still have some decisions to make and can still choose to go into the light. However, most of our loved ones that commit suicide actually do need assistance moving into the light. Many of the same reasons that caused individuals to take their own life still follow them into the afterlife. They may still feel hopeless. They may still feel a lot of sorrow or anguish, or not have that sense of hopefulness about moving forward. And for this reason, if your loved one committed suicide, it is so important that you reach out and help them. You may not have been able to help them when they were living and when they were experiencing the trouble that they faced in life, but you most certainly can help them now. The fourth reason loved ones don't cross over is when they do not believe in God or an afterlife and purposefully avoid the window. They avoid the light at the time of their death. They may fear what's in the light. They may fear what's coming next. And because of this, they turn away when it's their time to go into the light and stay earthbound. The fifth reason is when a loved one is afraid of punishment. They're literally afraid that when they sit in front of God, that they will be punished for some of the things that they did when they were living in a human body. And it's this reason that many people turn away at the last moment and do not go into the light. And this is why it's so important that you know that we are not punished in heaven. God does not punish you. No matter what you have done in life, if you seek to make amends and you seek to balance things and you do your forgiveness work, your soul and your energy will be clear and free and available to move into the light, readily accepted by all the angels, by God, and by all your other loved ones that await for you in heaven. There is no outward judgment. The judgment comes from you. It comes from the energy you carry about the way you have lived your life. And that's why I think it's so important that people do their healing work along the way, that we remain clear in our energy that we are able to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we make, or if we have harmed somebody intentionally or unintentionally, that we're always doing our forgiveness work and that we're always releasing our regrets, our resentments, and other energies that can really cloud up our spiritual energy and our vibration. As you do your healing work, you remain clear. You remain available to move freely into the light with ease. The most important thing that you need to know is that when your loved one passes, it is their free will to go to heaven. There is no force outside of them preventing them from going to heaven. Moving into heaven is all free will. You have free will. Your loved ones have free will. But there are reasons why your loved one may not have gone to heaven. And if that's the case, you can help them now. I explain much more about the afterlife in my new book, Death and the Afterlife, where you will learn what your loved one is going through as they're transitioning out of the physical body. If you have any concerns that your loved one may not have crossed over, I share the technique that I use as a professional medium so that you can actually learn to get your own connection. You can help them. If your loved one passed and you're still not sure if they made it to heaven, I'll share some of the things that you should look for as indicators that they may need some assistance from you. If your loved one passed and you suddenly notice a presence or something that feels uneasy in your home, you may have supernatural events, you may have odd things occurring in your environment, or you may notice that your dog is very agitated and acting differently, perhaps barking or acting aggressively when you see nobody in the room. Those are signs that something is off in your environment and may indicate that your loved one has come home with you after their funeral or after their death and may need some help transitioning into the light. The other thing you should look for is if you're not receiving signs and symbols from the afterlife, if there seems to be just a quiet void where nothing is occurring, that could indicate that your loved one needs some assistance from you to cross over. If you've recently gone through a loss and you're having nightmares about the loved one that passed, this could indicate that you either have unfinished business or that the loved one is trying to reach you. Nightmares are not typically associated with grief. In fact, once your loved one moves into the afterlife, the first thing they want to do is come to you in a dream visit and bring healing and closure to the relationship and to any issues that existed between you and them. So if you're actually having nightmares, this may indicate that your loved one needs some help. While it's normal to grieve and move through many different phases of grief, I call this sixth and final phase the spirit visit phase. And I love to teach people how to be sure that they're connecting with their loved one in the spirit world, that their loved one is truly in heaven, and how to continue having healthy communication with them in heaven. One of the most fascinating things is how much your loved one can help you from the other side. When they're not earthbound, when they have moved into heaven, they can come back and visit you as frequently as you want them to. They're available to help you with small things to large things, and they want to stay a part of your life. They want to continue to be part of your life, to act as a guardian for you, and to help you with whatever you came here to do. Many times people enjoy a better relationship with their loved one after they pass than they were able to experience in the physical world because of all sorts of unhealed issues and ego and different things that can get in the way. So trust me when I tell you that once you go into the light, you become a higher version of yourself and you release a lot of things that may have made you filled with conflict when you were living. So don't be afraid to reach out to your loved ones that have passed, especially if you know that they've crossed over, that they've made it to heaven. Invite them into your home and invite them to have healthier relationships with you because now they're able to. If you have questions about the afterlife or would like to share any of your personal experiences in having an afterlife communication, please share that down in the comments below. After I teach people about death and the afterlife, many of them find that they really have a calling for connecting with the spirit world and really want to develop their gifts for mediumship. If this happens to you, I've got a couple courses online that you would really love. Master Your Mediumship and Paranormal Rescue Medium. Depending on how deep you want to move into mediumship, you'll know which course to be drawn to. Of course, I'm always available for private sessions as well at www.dianapalm.com. If you like this video, be sure to give me a like down below, subscribe, and share it with your friends, especially if there's somebody who has lost a loved one recently. Or share my book with them, Death and the Afterlife, to help them heal their grief, understand the death process, and connect with their own loved ones in heaven. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I can't wait to see you in the next video.